Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Q&A with us, the British Fist.
Catching.
I'm excited, NJ. I'm Mr. Parkin, and this guy's sitting next to me. Well, I've already said his name, so you should know by now. It's none other than NJ.
What's up?
And NJ, is it true that in your spare time you are a magician?
Yes, I am. I am very much indeed.
You know, you've just done a trick there, NJ. You've made me disappear!
My magic trick is I picked this up thinking it was a wrestling shirt because I thought it looked similar to the shirts that WWE are producing now, like for Damon Sandow, like it was for that greasy hair, Bo Dallas. Most of the shirts are just plain, and I thought this was one of theirs.
And your best magic trick, I think, is how you seem to change shirt in every Q&A. I think that's pretty good magic trick. I still don't know how you do that.
I've got a shirt beneath this shirt. Look.
It's like abracadabra, and it's another change of shirt. But anyway, we're just blabbering on.
Question
Time for Q&A number 179. If you want to ask questions, best place to do it is in that comment section below. We go for the first question, which is a pretty demanding question, but we'll do it anyway. Robert Hernandez. What would be your WrestleMania dream card of 9 plus a pre-show, any era, all in prime, any company, no restrictions, main event for the WWE Heavyweight Championship? Okay.
I want to name 2.
Any wrestlers, really? Go on.
For the world, it also needs to be main event matches.
Main event would be for the world. I guess the main event would be for the World Heavyweight Championship, but over the other matches.
I would like Eddie Guerrero, Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
I would like Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I've actually got to the full of WrestleMania.
Kurt Angle, Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Undertaker, Sting.
In the prime, yes, in prime.
Stone Cold, Hogan.
That should have happened.
Rock, Macho Man.
I'm going to put Vince McMahon in a match, to be totally honest.
Do it.
Because he's not actually... He's not based. He normally plays the top guys. So it'll be Triple H. It'll be John Cena.
Vince McMahon versus Ted Turner. Oh, what a fucking match that would be. The battle of the real billionaires, Teddy Trump.
That me a few more. A tag team.
How about like Legion of Doom versus like Edge and Christian or something like that?
Edge and Christian would be great, yes.
Yeah, you could also have like an Ultimate Warrior versus a John Cena in there. That'd be another like dream match that some people would think of, like, you know,
some people would.
Ultimate Babyface of that era versus Ultimate Babyface of this era.
Some people would. Yeah.
You could have Orton versus his dad. Battle of the Ortons.
Good idea.
I don't know.
Brock Lesnar, a big guy with him in his prime versus.
I was going to say Andre Big Show.
Andre Brock Lesnar.
Okay, you can say Andre. I think Andre Big Show. That's a good one. I think that's really it. I mean, there's a lot of dream matches you can come up with. I mean, we got no limits here as well. I mean, you could even have like
AJ Lita. Oh, I wanted that.
I want to include Ric Flair, but I don't really know who to face him with. But there you go. Johnny Castaway. Do you think Rusev would benefit from a non-submission finisher? Recent wins against Swagger and Henry by ref stoppage felt really odd to me.
My quick answer is I'm going to say no. The reason I say no is because the guys like Big Show, Mark Henry, well, Cardi can't see, they've got slam moves. To give a bigger guy a submission move is different. I think giving it to Rusev to make him different to other big guys is good.
I think, I mean, obviously giving him a submission finisher, I think that's a good idea, especially the finisher they've given him. I just wouldn't have given him the Cobra Clutch. I'd have given him another finisher, because whenever you think Cobra Clutch, I believe it's the Iron Sheik or something, and you just think of foreign gimmick and all that. So the submission finisher is a good idea. I just wish it wasn't the Cobra Clutch. But there you go. I mean, I can't have any qualms with regards Rusev, really. Jack Daly, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Would the Attitude Era have succeeded in driving WCW out of business if Stone Cold never became a megastar? This is a difficult one, because, you know, if Stone Cold and the McMahon thing never happened, they wouldn't really have been able to capitalize on the McMahon character, the evil Mr. McMahon character, which is essentially one of the reasons why the Attitude Era became so big. But maybe a guy like The Rock would have been the perfect Foley to a Mr. McMahon at the time. Or maybe, you know, maybe you could have brought up a Mick Foley to be that. I mean, we don't really know. But Austin was the top guy. He was, you know, the big attraction. He was the biggest, I believe he was one of the biggest drawing stars in WWE history. And he did help take that rating away from WCW.
Because when it comes to feuds against the boss, you normally want the top face going against the... So I think Stone Cold at the time was the right choice. Yes, it eventually became the Rock and Short storyline, but Austin was seen as bigger than the Rock and him going against the boss.
Also, I think it was more WWE's business nous and history and brand equity, or sorry, brand, what do you call it? Just their brand knowledge in general from all over the world, which driven them forward. Because let's face it, WCW from a business standpoint wasn't being run very well. It wasn't a very profitable company. They were putting tons and tons of money in it without really getting massive amounts of returns. They were going for ratings as opposed to pay-per-view buys, which are essential in the wrestling business. Sometimes, if you want to sustain a company, and the reason why the AOL Time Warner merger really happened was not just because they didn't want wrestling on the TV show, but it's because they were going to inherit a wrestling company which was making a massive loss. And from what kind of business standpoint is that a good idea? I'm just trying to be more realistic here. Paul Erickson Alejandro Del Piero.
There you go.
A very famous Italian footballer. Who do you think cuts the best promo? Dean Ambrose or Brian Pillman in his prime? You know, I don't really think neither of us really saw Brian Pillman in his prime, so we don't really know. I mean, I imagine he was a pretty good promo cutter. I know what sort of character he had, but, you know, just on what we know, I'd have to go Dean Ambrose. But that's purely based on the fact that we don't really know what Brian Pillman's promos were like or really sounded like. We can't really make a comparison here.
Well, I'm guessing that, Paul, you know of his time or watched stuff or was around at his time.
Must have been pretty good.
But I think, obviously, from what we've watched, we name people like the Punk, Heyman, obviously Dean Ambrose, but obviously we've taken it away from Brian if we watched.
Yeah, Brian Pillman. Rest in peace, Brian Pillman, of course. Aaron Crace. We have a bunch of questions,
yep.
like 10 of them. What John Cena versus Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 21? 31, sorry. What about? I don't like the idea of having Brock Lesnar in a fatal four-way. I just think that totally devalues his drawing power. If you're going to get the most out of Brock Lesnar, you need him in a singles match at WrestleMania 31 in the main event, especially if he's the champion.
As much as I do miss the bigger guys versus multiple others, but with Brock Lesnar, to give the big wrestling match to one of the superstar, a one-on-one match would be good, but I see what you've done because you've got Bryan who needs to return, Reigns who needs to return, so give them a quick match by going into a WrestleMania match, but at the same time, the counter to that is the Royal Rumble winner normally gets to face the champion.
Yeah, I think it would be much better if they just had Roman Reigns face him. I mean, out of those, you've already had Daniel Bryan main event at WrestleMania. John Cena has main event and won many WrestleManias. It's time for Roman Reigns. Should the WWE make Dean Ambrose the next Brian Pillman? Funny, isn't it, how we just got that question about Brian Pillman, and now we've been getting this one. Yeah, I think Ambrose needs to be this next, like, crazy gimmick that they kind of have, or, you know, the psychotic gimmick. I think that really suits him. Just ever since he was in FCW and just, you know, I believe he was in CCW or CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling, he just kind of fit that mold of, you know, that kind of crazy guy.
I've complimented stuff like this before, how you compare the newer wrestlers to the legends of the past, but at the same time, I think Dean Ambrose should be Dean Ambrose, not similarity-wise to wrestlers in the past.
Should WWE turn Dean Ambrose heel? No. He's one of the most over baby faces in the company right now. No.
To be honest, he would have been a heel if he was the chosen one instead of Seth Rollins. But right now, with the way that Dean Ambrose, just by stepping into a ring, is getting the crowd going, no.
It would be a very bad idea right now. Would you like to see John Cena versus Dean Ambrose at Hell in a Cell? Okay, I know it's gone, but I wouldn't have wanted to see that match at Hell in a Cell. I would much rather wanted to see Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. And you know what? I actually watched that match. That's the first WWE match I've watched since WrestleMania 30. It honestly was.
And it was a great match, and I'm glad that the WWE chose against having Dean Ambrose or Cena wrestle two matches at Hell in a Cell to go into the main event, and having it just, they compete on Raw in that match, even though it's that on a pole match thing. They got to the actual one-on-one match, nicely done, and I would not have had John Cena versus Dean Ambrose, even though Dean Ambrose would have won.
Isn't it stupid, though, how Dean Ambrose defeated John Cena to get to Seth Rollins, and then John Cena gets the #1 contendership anyway, and then all of a sudden next week John Cena gets his hands on Seth Rollins anyway?
It's counterpoint because John Cena lost. They can't leave John Cena looking bad, so somehow he gets a shot for the championship. I just think it's wrong, but at the same time, the important part is forget about what Cena does. Look what Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins are doing.
Yeah, I suppose this is the bullet we had to take for Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose main eventing, wasn't it? John Cena versus Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose versus Randy Orton, or John Cena and Dean Ambrose versus Seth, Randy Orton, and Kane at Hell in a Cell. Neither. It was fine as it was. I just wanted to see Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Like I said, first match I've watched in WWE since WrestleMania.
My quick thing about that is first match you said, because I think John Cena could quite easily have not had a involvement at Hell in a Cell either way and just concentrate on the Seth Rollins and Dean thing, but they did the right thing.
What about John Cena and Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar versus Kane, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell? Should we just move on?
Yes, because you've got Brock Lesnar on the face team.
What about Miss Elizabeth in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't go in. If she's going to go in, she'll probably go in with Macho Man. But who knows at this point? I don't really know. What about a Lex Luger DVD? Do they already have one? I don't really know. Lex Luger's bodybuilding DVD. I don't fucking know. What DVDs would you like to see WWE make?
Evolution. I've said that. It wouldn't be that long, but I still would like back in the prime, not recently back in the.
So an Evolution. I thought they did one. Maybe that's Greatest Factions of All Time. That DVD they make. So yeah, an Evolution would be good. What
proper DX? They made an old DX, but I would have done a whole full special one.
I'd like to see personally like a WCW DVD, like not a Best of Nitro thing, but just the history of WCW. I mean, I know the rise and fall of WCW had some history on it, but like the Monday Night Wars, I mean, I've always been quite interested in that. Maybe I should watch the network version, but I'd like a Monday Night Wars DVD, one that properly highlighted WCW and not just treated it as a second-rate fucking company, which it wasn't. Renegade Man 83. Are charities associated with WWE hypocrites?
Bully one. You talk about the bully one, aren't you? You know, don't be a bully, be a star. You talk about that one.
Well, WWE are hypocrites because they showcase bullying and stuff, and don't be a star stuff all the time. But they showcase that, but they don't actually adhere to it.
No, but the question obviously is the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think they're hypocrites because they want to do whatever they can to get their message out there, and for that, I can't. I commend them. I mean, like was it Susan Combe? I can't remember the name of it.
Cancer research.
The cancer research one, and I personally pledged £20 a month to cancer research, so it has worked in a sense. But they're just trying to get the message out there. And if WWE, they have 4 million people roughly watching Raw every week, and 2.5 million watching SmackDown every week, and they have 700,000 subscribers on the WWE network. Why not use that medium to get out there? No, they're not fucking hypocrites whatsoever.
I really do think that when you're a business going down that route that the WWE keep bringing up, is when if other companies was to take advantage of how popular the WWE used to be, kind of still is, of course they're going to, like the adverts they keep saying, like Subway or the sweet bar you get, they just take advantage of getting their publicity up.
Pretty much. Are you a Marvel or DC fan?
DC, Batman! You're Superman, so you're the other one.
Am I? Oh, that means we're enemies. Oh, well. Do you think fans will turn on Roman Reigns and be treated... Actually, no, hold on. Before we do this question, you like Batman, I like Superman. Why the fuck are we friends? Superman and Batman. Superman is way better than Batman. How the fuck can you like Batman?
Get out of here. Superman is just a man with superpowers.
My name is Ben Affleck, and I'm boring.
Ben Affleck? No, you've got to do Christopher Nolan's movies with Christian Bale.
Christopher Reeve was the man, seriously, back in the day when he did that. Man of Steel movies were shit, but the first and second Superman movie were fucking epic.
Who?
Superman. Christopher Reeves.
Who's Christopher Reeves?
The man that was in in a wheelchair and needed stem cell research. Very famous for falling off a horse and breaking his neck and being being the Superman character. I just think Superman's better. I thought we might have as well have an argument about that before we go on to this one. Do you think fans will turn on Roman Reigns and be treated as the next John Cena? Depends.
To be honest, popular question.
To be honest, he's injured right now, so I think they kind of halted it a little bit. But if they book him like really strongly and make him into like a Sheamus, I think it would be more of a Sheamus than anything else. I'm not sure he'll go as far as John Cena. They'll probably book him like a Sheamus, and then people will turn on him.
To be totally honest, this is a popular question. When I answered last time, I said before the injury, apart from the Orton feud, he was getting a typical Cena booking. You know, nothing can beat me. I'm going to win this match, win that match. I'm going to knock you down, knock you down. And when he returns, because he's returned, yes, he's going to get a strong booking. And if he wins the Rumble, between the Rumble and WrestleMania, of course he's probably going to get Cena booking. So there's a slight chance, yes.
Do you know, it'll be a real shame if the main event of WrestleMania 31 comes and you have Brock Lesnar getting cheered more than Roman Reigns. Which is quite funny because at Royal Rumble, remember Royal Rumble when it was Batista and Roman Reigns was getting massively cheered? You know,
it's going to be sad, but at the same time, I think it all depends on, yes, you want to push new faces to be up there, but you don't want to push them like John Cena because obviously look what's happened to him.
Exactly, and you think WWE would learn, but there you go. When Daniel Bryan returns, who will he feud with? Maybe a temporary feud with Brock Lesnar? I'm trying to think. Probably not, but
I wish this, even though it's not going to be the case, this would have been a wish question. Cesaro! But he's nowhere near Daniel Bryan now.
I think that they'll probably have him feud with Kane because he was the one that technically put him out. So they'll probably have him face Kane, which will be a
rematch.
Bad feud, but there you go. Would it make sense for him to challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, WWE World Heavyweight Championship, since he never lost the belt? Yes, but I think by then they would probably have had Roman Reigns win the belt. So I don't think that would be much of a good idea from going here to WrestleMania, personally.
With Daniel Bryan's injury being pushed longer and longer, there's undoubt when he's going to be coming back.
If
so
ever.
Possibly, if he does come back after WrestleMania or for WrestleMania, he'll probably be in a filler match for WrestleMania, and then probably enter a championship feud when Brock Lesnar's lost the belt.
The problem with Daniel Bryan is that the chase is better than the actual end game. So the reason why so many people got behind him is because he was chasing the belt, and as soon as he got the belt, it wasn't as good, was it? And I think that's the thing. You're gonna have to build Daniel Bryan up in a long-term storyline to then grab the belt off someone rather than just stick him in there straight away.
I think, to be honest, I don't think it was long enough to be a champion for me to agree or disagree with you. I felt if his injury didn't take place and he didn't feud Kane...
He'd have lost to Brock Lesnar.
Well,
wouldn't he? Imagine how much the fans would have been pissing on the SummerSlam match if what happened to John Cena happened to Daniel Bryan. Oh, the internet would have been... There would be no internet because the internet would have exploded with anger.
Daniel Bryan main event SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, losers like that. Yeah. That I reckon a lot of people would have quit watching WWE or said they were, but then watched Raw anyway. Oof. But anyway, let's move on. Who should Charlotte drop the belt to when she moves to the main roster?
Don't give
Sasha Banks.
Don't give her up to us.
Sasha Banks.
She'll come and get AJ or Paige booking, and then I'll be bored of her.
Well,
sadly.
I'm trying not to look at that, even though that is essentially. I mean, I don't watch WWE anymore, proper like Raw and SmackDown, so I'm not too fussed about that. I mean, obviously, Charlotte's a very good talent in my opinion. She's come a long way in 2 years since she debuted on NXT. But if she does drop the belt, which is essentially what this question is, moves to the main roster, it should be Sasha Banks. I think she's the next one in line for that belt. And I think she'll probably end up dropping it at the December special, but who knows?
Lose it to Lynn Garcia.
Is she still with the company? Do you think Owen Hart could have been the WWE champion? Could have been, but it was probably hot during a time when they just had better people to give the championship to. But he could have been, because he was definitely good enough. And that feud with Bret Hart, he had in, I believe it was 95, 96. Could have easily have got the belt off him and had, the feud continue there.
He was building up in that way where we thought, right, we have a main eventer here. He's got Bret there as well. It was building up, but obviously the negative happened and no.
Yep. Cashmaster 21. Do you think WWE should get rid of SmackDown now? Now it just feels like a filler show. What show?
Yeah, SmackDown is filler. We've always said that, yes, there was a fame when SmackDown was better than Raw, but to be honest, not enough happened on SmackDown for us to care about.
So, yeah, might as well then, because I don't watch it anymore. But it still draws 2+ million people. So, if they get a bit of money from it, then they should keep it. From my standpoint, I don't see the point. But from a business standpoint, you can see why they keep it around. What do you think of the name changes for Kenta and Devitt, and what do you think they'll name Kevin Steen? Okay, so Kenta came in. They acknowledged him as Kenta. Then they renamed him Hideo Itami, which was a name which related a lot to him. And then they have Prince Devitt come in from New Japan Pro Wrestling, a very popular wrestler, and they name him Finn Balor. Now, I think Finn Balor has got something to do with some sort of army, some sort of fighting meaning or something. But I'm not necessarily. I don't mind the name changes. I mean, Hideo Itami was a mouthful at first, and Finn Balor, okay. But Kevin Steen's name of Keith, I think it's Keith Owens or something like that, or something like that.
Thing is, they're going to eventually, maybe possibly move up to the WWE. I thought if they kept their original name, which their first companies or their companies they grew up in gave them the name or the name they chose, people would think, oh, I know him. You change their name. I'm not saying they won't be noticed, but it would have been better, and I think, or kept their original name.
The problem is with WWE is they want the naming rights and everything, and like it was a weird one because CM Punk kept his name, which was good, but they want the naming rights to the superstars they have. That's why they changed their names to like Finn Balor and stuff like that. And it's just because WWE don't want to have to pay the guy for the rights to his. It's like The Rock, he has to pay the WWE for the licensing to use the name The Rock.
I don't know why they didn't go with Sting Kevin or whatever Kaneta's first name is.
Kenta, I think it's Kenta Kobayashi.
I
don't know. Anyway, yeah, we'll end the Q&A there before we start saying Japanese words that we don't understand. Konnichiwa. Thank you very much for watching this Q&A if you have, and please remember to submit your questions down in that comment section below.
Thank you very much for watching YouTube. This is Mr. Park and I'm NJ. Goodbye.
And tune in next week when I'll have a new shirt on.
Woo!